Hey, let's talk a little bit about optimizing your Google search ad campaigns. So you might already use something called audiences, where you either observe certain type of audiences in Google Ads based on their interest or behavior, or where you specifically target audiences for some of your specific campaigns. The reason why I think it's really important to use audiences for a successful Google Ads campaign is that it's really important that you communicate a different message to different types of audiences. So you might want to communicate a very different message to someone who might be seeing your website for the first time, as opposed to someone who has visited your website several times or even has gotten into the point where they had a product in their checkout cart, but they just never actually made the purchase, right? So because of this, I really wanted to show you how to create remarketing lists for search ads. Google Ads also calls this RLSA. It's basically when you specifically target people who have visited your website in your search ad. So it's actually a very great tool to offer, say, a discount for someone who has already visited your website, and this way nudge them towards pressing that purchase button. So as I have said, it's important to communicate different messages to different types of users. For example, you also might want to show very different ad copies for someone who searches for laptop as opposed to MacBook Air 2019. In general, we can assume that the more specific the keyword is, the closer the consumer is to actually purchase the product, because they have it really clearly in mind what they want to purchase. So because of this, it's important to identify who are you communicating to and which part of the path this consumer might be, and communicate them a different message accordingly. Maybe you want to show them a seasonality or offer them a discount code in your ad copy. So there are just a lot of different ways you can use these different types of audiences. So although it's very important to also use keywords for this type of optimization and categorize them based on potential search intent, I do recommend that you definitely get the Google Remarketing tag installed. I do have another video about this showing how you can do that via Google Tag Manager. So once you have that installed, we can head over to Google Ads and I can show you how to set up these campaigns.
So this is a demo account you're seeing right now, but I already have the remarketing tag installed. So once you're at that stage, you just head over to search campaigns and you create a new campaign. And you should select a campaign without a specific goal, because we are professionals and we know what we're doing. So you head over to search, and you don't really need to select any specific result for this campaign. We can use other settings. So let's just call this search RLSA, remarketing list for search ads, and make sure to only use the search network to really have a clear intent for this campaign. So we're only going to be using search network. You don't need any additional settings over here. You pick whichever location is relevant for you, and you pick the languages that are relevant for you. These are my basic settings. These were my basic settings for this account. And this is where the heart of this, and this is where the important stuff is happening. You can go to browse and select how people have interacted with your business. So remarketing and similar audiences. So make sure to use the remarketing audiences and not the similar ones, because what similar ones do is that based on past data, they get an audience that is similar to the one that converted with you or has visited your website, etc., etc. So I would select website visitors, and you can choose all converters, or it could be all visitors. I have it both for Google Ads and Google Analytics over here. Now here you really want to think about whether you want to use all converters or all visitors. It really depends on the type of your product, because let's say you are selling something more high-end and something more expensive, something that people only tend to buy once, then you definitely wouldn't use all converters. You might even want to exclude all converters, because if they had just made a purchase with you, it probably is not worth it for you to show them more ads, because they are likely to not buy anything else from you for a while. But let's say you're selling dog food, which can be a very recurring purchase on a monthly basis. You can create very specific ads for people who have purchased in the past 30 days or more, and you can show your ad kind of to remind them to make the purchase, to keep their dog fed, or so on. So for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna pick all visitors over here, and make sure that you use targeting, because if you use observation, Google will still show this to everyone to anyone. So if you pick observation, Google might still show this ad to anyone who fits the other criteria based on language and location. But if you use targeting, only the people on this specific audience list will be the one who are gonna see your ads. So other than that, you just enter an average amount you want to spend all day, and you can see, and over here you can set what you want to focus on, whether it's clicks or conversions. You can follow whatever you follow in your other campaigns. I have found that maximize conversions has been working well for this specific account in the past, so I'm just gonna keep it with that. But this is not gonna in any way affect the remarketing list. So you can use whatever extensions your heart desires, and once you have all that set up, you just simply save and continue. So once that is done, Google will take you to this site where you define ad groups. So we're gonna stick with ad group 1, and we're gonna go with say keyword. I'm actually not going to use this campaign. I just really wanted to show you how to do this, so I'm not gonna bother with the keywords, but in general, you would just add all the keywords that are relevant to you. I do recommend creating a branded campaign. So usually for branded campaigns, I use 3 different ad groups, one having all the broad match keywords, one having all the phrase match keywords, and one having all the exact match keywords. So I categorize them based on keyword type, keyword match type. So what I have also done in the past is that I have a brand campaign, and then I basically copy the whole brand campaign. But what I do is for the copied one is that I use the RLSA features. So I basically target all audiences who have visited the website before. And this in general just has a very much lower CPC. And I just make sure that the ad copy is more relevant, more up to date, and more targeted for that audience as opposed to the general brand campaign. So we're gonna go ahead and save and continue. And we're gonna create, and you're gonna create some text ads, obviously. I'm not, because this is just a test to show you how it's done.
So if you want to use a strategy I have mentioned before, where you essentially duplicate a campaign and you target your remarketing list, then what's very important is that you exclude the same audience from the original campaign. So let me show you what I mean.
So let's say I would have copied my brand campaign. So then I head to my brand campaign and I go to audiences and I go to audience exclusions. So you just add an audience exclusion from the whole campaign, and I'm gonna exclude all visitors from here to make sure that I don't get overlapping data from these 2 campaigns, and then I just go ahead and save that.
So this way I can really make sure that these 2 campaigns target different audiences, because that's when you can really compare the data and see what kind of keywords one of them might be searching for that the other one is not, and what works for a returning audience and what works better for someone who has never seen your website. So it's really important that you use the exclusion if you are using the same keywords for a remarketing search campaign. So that was it from me today. I hope this was helpful for you, and if you have any other questions about remarketing lists or search ads or digital marketing, then make sure to leave a comment below and I'll be sure to answer it. And in the meanwhile, take care and have a beautiful day.